Okay, I think I'm just recording just this one screen, and that's what I want to do. Okay, so I have a project, a 3D core project in Unity called Switch Between Animations, because that's what I'm going to do with it. And I'm going to grab first a model, a humanoid, from the asset store. That's asset store, unity.com. And you can search for Banana Man. I think, in fact, I searched for Banana Man, all one word. But Banana Man is what I'm going to use. You won't see necessarily open in Unity. You may see, if you haven't signed in or if you haven't used this before, you may see this is a private tab, so it won't recognize me. Yeah, add to my assets, and then you have to download it and bring it into your project. If you have any trouble with that, let me know. So I I'm going to click Open in Unity. It's going to do the package manager thing where I have to. I'm not going to download it, but you will download it. But I'm going to import it and import it. Okay, so in my assets folder, bless me. In my assets folder, I now have plugins. And I think this, for my purposes, I'd rather see this as icons than a list. So this little slider, if you bring it all the way to the left, it turns it into a list, but icons might be better for this. I double click on each of these until I see my Banana Man. So I don't need all the rest of this stuff, really. I'm not going to worry about the skins or the textures and materials, anything like that. I'm just going to drag him in here. I'm using the middle mouse button to zoom and holding it and dragging it to pan, and then the right mouse button to rotate. If I look at the game window, I can see he's facing away from the camera. His feet are facing the wrong direction. So in my scene, if I select him, I get this gizmo, but I can click over here and get the rotation gizmo, and then I can just click on this green circle and it turns yellow. And then as long as I keep moving it until there's a line that goes all the way across, then I've rotated him 180 degrees. In my game view, I can see he's facing me. I'm going to bring him just slightly closer to the camera. That's better. All right, so that's my Banana Man, and I'll go back to my assets folder. I'm going to get some animations to apply to this character. Now, I'm just doing all this from different sources just to show that that it's easy to apply animations from from one source to characters from another source. So let me just minimize this for a second. That was the asset store for unity.com. This is Mixamo. Mixamo is an Adobe product, so that means it's probably a pretty safe site. And I can search for characters or animations. I see Kick is in that search bar, so I can search for characters, and I'll just switch to a different character here. I wonder if there's... Yeah, this is... I like this one. So this is kind of resembles my character I'm using. And I don't want a kick, I want an animation for, first I want a boxing, I just say box idle. So an idle animation is an animation that the character will do whenever it's not doing anything else. So this is a good one. So this is just being ready to fight. Here's another one. And it seemed like there was one I liked better, but I don't know, these look okay. So this is just, I'm getting ready to fight. I can click and drag and look at this character animation from any angle, and then I'll say download. I want an FBX, that's for sure. Your default is going to be lower than 60 frames per second, so bring that up. Your default is going to be with skin, but I'm not going to use the skin with this character, so I'm going to say without skin, and I'm not going to change the keyframes. It's going to know where I've saved these before, but you're going to have to choose a place for them to go. Oh, it doesn't know. So I'll put them in my downloads, that's fine. So I'll call this one Box Idle. I can change the name right there. And let's find, so that with this animation will always go back to this in between commands that I give my character. So I'm going to say box, then I'll say punch. And we have different punches. Some of them don't look like very good punches to me. Okay, so I'll call this a right hook. Now my preferences are remembered, so 60 frames without skin. I'll change this name to right hook. Okay, and then I need another one for kick. Let's get a kick. Some of these are pretty far out. They roll around on the ground and whatnot. But I'm going to use this one. I'll call it a head kick. All my preferences are still remembered. Next time I come back, it won't remember, so I'll have to set them again. And I'll call this head kick. All right. So I've got my 3 animations. I don't need these tabs anymore. I'll just minimize them. Oops. There we are. So here's my assets folder, and I want these in my assets folder. I like a list rather than icons for this, so I just slide this all the way to the left. But I want to create a new folder for my animations. I can just dump them here in the assets, but it's nicer for me. Right click, create folder. I'll call it animations. And then I'll double click on that to go into it, and right click and import new assets. And these were, I think, in my downloads. Yeah, head kick, right hook, and box idle. If I hold down my shift key or the control key, I can get all of them. So they're imported into this animations folder, and I like this list view because I can roll these down and see that inside is an animation. The animation logo looks like a triangle with some action lines, but notice that they're all called Mixamo, so I'm going to want to change that in a minute. And also I'm going to take them out of these plugins, these animation packages, because I only want the animations and not anything else that comes with it. So first I've got to rename the animations, and I click on the plugin, the animation package, and it appears in my inspector. I need to, first off, I guess I need to rig, and where it says animation type, for generic, I make it humanoid. I think that's important. I'll apply that. The rest of this I don't have to worry about. Animation, I can change the name right here. There's the icon for the animation, and I can change this to box idle. And if I scroll down just a little bit, this says loop time. For the box idle, I do want a loop time, meaning that when it gets to the end of the animation, which is quite short, it should go back to the beginning. And that's all I need to do here, except apply. Don't forget to apply these things. So I have a box idle animation inside this box idle package. If I control D for duplicate, I get one outside that package. I can roll this down, you can see it's outside that package. Then I can just delete that package. Make sure I'm deleting the package and not the animation. The icons are different. I'm going to do the same thing to these, but let's, I'm going to do almost the same thing to these other animations, but let's see if we can't get this animation on Banana Man. I'm going to drag it up here and drop it on Banana Man, and then I'll hit play. This is the play button, and there it is. So it's a very short animation. You can kind of see when his foot when he kind of puts his weight on this foot, it's back to the beginning, or somewhere in there he's gone back to the beginning. I'll stop that. Very nice. Head kick. We'll do the same thing. Click on this package, rig for humanoid, animation. I'll change the name, and this name should be head kick. And I'll roll down just a little bit. I don't want to loop time. In other words, when he kicks, I don't want him to automatically kick again unless I give the command. So this is done now. Apply. And the same thing here. Right hook. I'll click on the package. Rig for humanoids. Animate. The name has to change. And this is right hook. Right hook because the character uses his right hand, and it's a kind of hook shape, I clicked away and it said, do you want to save it? So I believe I did save that. I'll take this. Okay, somehow this head kick didn't change. I must have not said, I must not have applied it. Head kick. Down and apply. There we go. So now the animation is called head kick and the animation is called right hook. I can duplicate these. That's Control D. And then I can make sure you're clicking on the right icon and delete the package that they came in. So I now have just 3 animations and this Banana Man icon. So I have an idle, and I want to be able to switch between the idling animation and let's say the right hook. Here I have, I'll stop that for a second. Here I have an animator window. If you don't show an animator window, then go to Window, Animation, Animator, and it will appear. And if you have Banana Man selected, you should see the animations applied to Banana Man. Entry means when we enter the scene, this is a transition to box idle. And I can drag right hook up into this animator window, and I'll get, did I call this right hook? I wonder if this is really, can I rename it here? Try it. I hope one of these is actually a right hook. We'll know in a moment. Actually, I don't have to change the name yet. Let's do this. So I have a right hook and a box idle, and this is a transition. And I can create a box idle transition to right hook. And also the name box idle has .com in it. I somehow didn't get rid of that either. I'm going to right click on this and say make transition, and then drag my mouse. I don't have to hold down the mouse. I just move my mouse up here and click on right hook. That's a transition between box idle and right hook. And then I click on right hook. That's a right click, make transition, drag down here. So now I have transitions between box idle and right hook. So if I hit play button, notice that it goes into a right hook. So what's happening is the idle animation plays, and when it finishes, it transitions into the right hook. Let me show you why. This is the transition from box idle to right hook. I can tell that because the arrow goes from here to here. And it says has exit time. Has exit time means that it will, at a certain amount of time, in fact here we can see the box idle animation runs to here, and then there's these slants here, these slopes, and these are fades. We call these fades. So this fades into that, and then when this is done, it goes back. If I turn that off, won't go into the right hook. And so that's where, as far as I got with the class previously, and so this is a good place for us to stop.